Ladies and gentlemen, Loki here, back at it again with another YouTube video. We just finished the last MOC. Obviously, it's Nikador, no surprise. The next one's going to be the enemy that we saw in the trailer. Maybe not the next one, but probably the one after. Yeah, for 40 days, yeah, it probably will be the 3.1 boss. It's kind of obvious, right? So there's one thing, if we check the friends clearance lineup, that is very. Oh, someone literally just finished right now. There's one thing very apparent. Obviously, seeing the new shiny toy against the boss they're made for, you're always gonna see that, and every gacha does that, or at least every gacha that I play. So that's not. So I won't call that out, but if we take a look, we see Super Break. Here we actually see the Herda with Jade, which is awesome team. We see Super Break, we see Super Break, we see Super Break. Even myself, we see Super Break, right? And not to say like Super Break's like overpowered, the most overpowered thing ever. If it was overpowered, it would zero easy, right? It's very good though. At least for now, it's really good. I would like to see more variety in Honkai Star Rail, and obviously we should see that in moving into 3.2 and beyond with the buffing of the older units. Now, I want to do a top 10 of 10 characters that I would like to see buffed in Honkai Star Rail. Feel free to leave your top 10 below down in the comment section. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Taking the number 10 spot is going to be Preservation March 7th. Now, give me a reason to use this character, right? Comes with a new skin. Skin's cool, skin's great, cool, whatever. It's free, awesome, we'll take it. But I'm never gonna use this skin. I'm never gonna get to see this skin because it's on Preservation March 7th, right? Most of the time you're gonna be using the follow-up attack March 7th, Hunt March 7th. I want a reason to use this character. The only time you really see this character is in Simulated Universe Remembrance runs back in the day. That's the only time you would ever see this character. Maybe we get like a AoE shield, right? And then like that way she gets more follow-up attacks off, right? Because I believe, I actually don't know how her kit works. It's been a minute. I know she gets a follow-up attack when the person that is shielded gets attacked, I believe. Yeah, so if the shielded ally was your entire team, she would get more counters off, and that would be so dope. She would actually she would have a little value. I'm not gonna lie, she would have a little bit of value, like for sure, especially against like Ice Week enemies. And it just opens up more team comps because she could be the sustain for the Herda team, right? So that it will be taking the number 6 or number 9, the number 10 spot, Preservation March 7th. Moving on to number 9 is going to be Bailu. Bailu is going to take the number 9 spot. Obviously, if you've been playing this game since the beginning, you probably have a few of these that you just don't use. Clearly, oh my god, I have 3. Oh no. Clearly, like, Invigoration's amazing. It's damage resistance, right? Now, imagine we give Bailu a cleanse. We give Bailu a cleanse, let Bailu target who she wants to cleanse, and then, I mean, I guess the bouncing random healing, that's just the nature of the kit. That's just how it is. But that's all I would really like to see. I think Invigoration's very underrated. Invigoration's actually underrated. It's really good. It's really good. 10% less damage. But yeah, I mean, 10% damage resistance, random healing makes Bailu so sketchy to use. But if Bailu had a cleanse, this character would actually be used, I'm not gonna lie. And then obviously Bailu's the only healer in the game as of right now that has a revive. So that's what I would like to see moving forward. Moving on to the number 8 spot is going to be, it's gonna be Kafka. It's gonna be Kafka. Now, I don't know what we do with Kafka here. Kafka being buffed could actually make Dot great again. How do you do that? Obviously, you keep her kit, you keep her re-triggering dots, but maybe she re-triggers them and they crit, right? Because I believe she re-triggers them for like lower than 75% of the original damage, and then the alt is 100% of the original damage. We need more than that. Dot needs more than that. Like maybe like I don't know, like I would have to test it myself, but like crit Dot, if you go into Divergent Universe, imagine if it was 100% of the original damage plus it like crit, right? Because that would essentially be like another 100%. Something like that would be amazing. And then maybe her follow-up re-triggers again, re-triggers all the dots on the enemy again. That would be amazing. That would be absolutely phenomenal. That's kind of what Dot needs right now. But that's what I would like to see moving forward for Kafka. And number 7, you can probably tell already, it is going to be Bronya. The only thing I want changed on Bronya, I think her kit's fine. Her kit's all right. Maybe you up these multipliers a little bit, just a tiny bit, just because Sunday does exist. And then a lot of newer players, they're going to have Bronya, right? They have the option of getting Bronya, and if you make the character even better, then they don't have to feel forced to pull for Sunday just to make certain team comps work. But this is the biggest thing that I want changed. The E1 on Bronya, which if you've been playing since the beginning of the game, you probably have this. There's no way this should say 50%. When using a skill, there's a 50% chance of recovering 1 skill point. That should not be a thing. 50% is absolutely ridiculous, especially when we have a 100% chance to recover a skill point on a light cone, and on an Eidolon we have a 50%. That's come on. let's change that a little bit, please. Moving on to the number 6 spot is going to be Yanqing, the boy Yan King. Again, a lot of these characters suffer from day 1 syndrome, right? It's an okay E1. It's not the best. So the whole thing with this character, you have to keep this character protected, right? I believe, I don't remember, it's been a minute since I played, so we're gonna learn together. But this is one thing, it's the follow-up chance. It's a 54%, but I think at max it's 60%. It's a 60% chance to trigger the follow-up. Make it 100%. Make it 100%. And then every time I level it, just increase the damage, increase the multipliers. Especially because he's starting to adapt some of Jing Liu's techniques, right? Like she rubbed off on him a little bit. Obviously he couldn't handle Hule, so that might hint towards the next character moving up in the number 5 spot. But again, this 100% needs to be changed. And I believe, let's see, he used to have full health, right? I don't remember. It's been so long since I played this character. It's been over a year, at least over a year. Yes, when he receives damage, he loses the Soul Steel Sync effect, right? Because he gets extra crit rate and crit damage, but when he gets hit, and then if you have his light cone, you get extra crit damage on top of that, right? And I have that at S2. So yeah, 100% on the follow-up, increase the multipliers a bit, and it would open up more team comps. I could even see a team like V Herda, Preservation March 7th, Yanqing, and Erudition, right? March 7th, shielding your entire team. Yanqing's constantly follow-up attacking, guaranteed follow-up attacking. March is guaranteed follow-up attacking. She's battering herself with her follow-up attacks. She's constantly ulting, right? That's freezing the enemy, and that's also gonna batter the Herda because she wants units that are going to ult. But obviously Tribi, as you guys know now, is an exceptional unit for the Herda, so you would have to slot in Tribi somewhere on that team. But moving on to the number 5 spot, spoiler, Jing Liu, right? Obviously, Jing Liu defeated Hule. It wouldn't make sense if Yanqing was stronger than her at this point in time. I think Jing Liu is one of those characters that actually has a really nice kit. Like, her kit's actually really good. What happened to my girl's like her kit's actually solid. The draining health, I haven't used her in a while. That's why you see random stuff on her, but I think she just needs higher multipliers. I think her kit's honestly fine. I think it's fine. I think she just needs to hit a bit harder. This is like probably the only character on the list, actually, other than the #1 spot. I wouldn't change their kit at all. I think their kit's fine. I just think they need higher multipliers. Now moving on to the #4 spot, it is going to be, drum roll please, Welt Yang. Welt Yang. Now, my boy Welt Yang, so delaying the enemy, I mean sustain Welt, it's a thing, right? Delaying the enemy can actually be pretty substantial. Now he doesn't really necessarily like need that. I don't know what you would necessarily do. Maybe do some type of additional damage every time the enemy gets delayed, just to increase his value, right? So that way you could run something, I don't know, you could run like Fugue with like Welt with like Ron May or something, and then you're just constantly delaying the enemy, doing additional damage. I don't know. I have no idea what I would do for this guy, but other than like just the obvious, just increases multipliers, because he has a very interesting kit. And if you know Welt's past, man, like he should be way stronger than he actually is in this game. But yeah, he's another character I would like to see buffed. And I believe we are moving on to the #3 spots. Silverwolf, one of my favorite characters in the entirety of the game. Hopefully this character is going to get buffed, because if she doesn't, she is going to move very far down on the tier list. Because single target implant, like, I've always thought this at max, because you have characters that get really close to this 45% defense shred, and that's her single target defense shred on her alt. Pela plus the resolution shines as a pearl gets pretty close to that number, but it's AoE, right? I think 45% is not enough. I think this needs to say like 70-80% maybe. If not, then give her an AoE implant. If you give her like an AoE implant, then her value goes up while keeping this 45%, because her E1 is like, she was the start of like E1s being great. E1 Silverwolf is actually one of the best E1s in the entirety of the game. It's a totally different character. It's a completely different character. You literally get like 2-turn ult, and then depending on how many times you get attacked, it could potentially be a 1-turn ult, right? So yeah, I would like to see either AoE implant or a bigger debuff. Yeah, she's a gamer. Her whole thing is cheat codes, right? So that would literally fall in the scenario of just having like an AoE implant, like cheating the system. I genuinely believe Silverwolf should be the only character in the game to implant. It should be unique to her because of obviously who she is, but it is what it is. We are where we are. Moving on to the #2 spot, it is going to be Zila. Zila is another character that back when I was free to play, I just kept pulling because it was a new game, so I ended up getting E1. E1 doesn't really do too much, but the biggest issue with Zila herself is she cannot pick off smaller enemies. Now, how do we fix this? How do we alleviate this? We alleviate it by making it so she doesn't have to kill the enemy, whether that be 50%, getting them down to 50% to proc resurgence, getting them down to maybe 25% to proc resurgence, while also increasing her multipliers to keep her relevant. Because we're starting to see quantum a lot. I believe Nicodor has quantum weakness, correct? Yeah, so this whole floor is quantum. This whole thing is quantum. Not sure if Nicodor has it, but I know he does have lightning weakness. But again, like we need more quantum, especially with like Tribby coming out in the future. I would like to see. That's literally all she needs. Maybe we give her something else on the alt. Maybe we give her like an extra resurgence proc immediately after the alt, as well as the earlier resurgence proc and on just taking an enemy down to 50%. I guess I could see something like that working out. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But moving on to the number one character. The number one character I would like to see buffed in Honkai Star Rail is going to be none other than Blade. 300,000 damage is unreachable for him. He severely needs a buff, and it's mostly just multipliers. I think Blade fundamentally has one of the most fun kits in the entire game. I love the alt into the enhanced basic into the follow-up. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's a very well designed kit. I'm not gonna lie, it's very well designed, right? But when we have a character like My Day coming out, it's gonna overshadow Blade even more. Like, you still wouldn't use Blade now unless it's like the lower floors. You would never really take him to like to floor 11 or even like 12 without supports severely buffing him, and I mean Eidolons in those supports. Yeah, he needs a lot of help. He needs a lot of help. Or maybe we make like his HP scaling, because he gets like a certain amount of damage based off of his HP scaling, right? So maybe we make it to where we just up those multipliers. That's all it comes down to, honestly. A lot of the power creep in Honkai Star Rail comes from a lot of these characters just not, their multipliers can't keep up with the current day characters. So Blade takes my number one spot. I used to use this guy all the time. I think Blade was the first character that I broke free to play for, and now look at it, I can't use him anymore. I can't use him unless I'm just like running Divergent Universe to amplify his damage, and even then I still have characters like Facial who's just hitting way harder, right? So Blade takes the number one spot. That's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Who would you like to see buffed in Honkai Star Rail? And with that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.